Well, hello, Stampers. It's the Pampered Stamper, and it's Tuesday, and that means it's time for stories and stamps. And I am really happy with all the feedback that I've had from you that you're enjoying my stories. Makes me just warms my heart. And I'm trying to combine some stamping with my stories because, I am the Pampered Stamper and my business is Stampin' Up. So I am not going to keep my business going simply by telling stories. But today's an exciting day because I am getting to the point where 17-year-old Jackie meets Gerard van der Sar. So I had no idea when I was 17 and in Holland on vacation how my life would change. So let's backtrack just a little bit. I just want to check to see what's going on here. I can't look at everything, but I do have my computer open on um, my Facebook. I can't, so I can see your comments, but I can't comment back. So on YouTube, I'm sorry. I know I'm live on YouTube, and that's more so that you guys can chat with each other. I will reply to comments later, but unfortunately, I can't see the chat after my video is over. I can't see the live chat. So be sure to leave a comment in the comment sections as well. I know that's asking a lot, but I really, really do love to interact with you. So, yeah, hit that red subscribe button so that you can stay up to date on what I'm doing. So, when I was 17, it was summer on the farm, and I just remember that we had been talking that it was time to go to Holland again, but we were waiting for a good deal. And this time it was determined that I would go with my brother Oliver. Now, Oliver is 7 years older than me, and Oliver is a real introvert. And I think he's on the spectrum. I'm pretty sure he has Asperger's. So he is the kind of guy that likes to stick with what is tried and true. He gets overwhelmed by lots of decisions. I remember like going to a restaurant with him. That was a stressful thing because there were so many unfamiliar foods, there were so many choices, and it was all too much. So I wasn't sure how excited I was to be traveling with my brother Oliver, to be totally honest. And anyway, all of a sudden, and back then there was no internet, so you couldn't go on the internet and check to see what the deals were. I remember my brother was always a huge newspaper fan, so we had the Toronto Star and we had the Globe and Mail and all that kind of stuff. And there were ads in the newspaper for airfares. And then there was an airfare that was going to Paris that was really reasonable. I remember it was just a little over $500. It was less than $550 for a return ticket. And but it flew to Paris, and we looked into that, and we knew that there was a train that you could take, a high-speed train, le train de grande vitesse, that went the TGV that went from Paris to Holland. So the plan was we would go to Paris, we would stay there for a couple of days, and then we would take the train to Holland. Well, yes, that is another story. So we ended up on flying out on a Quebec airplane, okay, little plane. I think it was 3 and 3, the seats, with an aisle down the middle. And we're taking off, and that plane was rattling so badly, I thought we were going to die. You couldn't hear each other talk. That's how loud it was. Hi, Patty. Hi, Margot. It's nice to see you guys. I love it when you tell me where you're from, Northern California. What's the weather like there, Margot? So I was fearing for my life, okay, in this rattlebox plane. And we're up in the air, and my brother says to me, I think something's wrong. Take a look at the stewardesses' faces. They look stressed. And he said, and we've been over Lake Ontario for a while now. He says, it seems like we're circling. Hi, Alfie. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like he's always been super observant, right? I'm just focused on the noise and that kind of thing. But and I think this was his first time on an airplane as well. And sure enough, we are circling and we're dumping fuel. And all of a sudden, the pilot comes on and he says, we're sorry, we're experiencing some technical difficulties. We need to fly back to Toronto International Airport. Hi, Asunta, nice to see you here. And I don't know if it was a wheel that wasn't going up properly or a door that wasn't shut properly, but everyone was looking stressed, and we were heading back to the airport. And as we're landing, we see just a whole pile of emergency vehicles. There are ambulances, there are fire trucks, there are police cars, and there's lights flashing. And oh my goodness, we landed safely. We had to get out of the airport. We were all put in a special room where they had coffee and stuff. And then we were told that they were going to be repairing the airplane and they were taking it for a test flight. Anyway, we had to wait 4 hours before, and then we had to get back into the same plane. I think they gave us a little bit of sandwiches. I'm not sure. We had to go back in the same plane. So by the time we got to Paris, we had been traveling for 24 hours already. Wow, it's hot, Patty. Wow. And we land and we're surrounded by French speaking people, of course. And my brother is like, I hate this. This is not cool. I don't want to stay in Paris. I'm tired. I'm miserable. I just want to get to Holland. I want to get to Familiar. I want to see my family. And my goodness. So then we had to figure out how to get, and me and my horrible French, because I was just in high school, so I had high school French, had to figure out how to get from the airport to the train station. And I guess there wasn't a direct, we had to go on a bus as well with our suitcases. And I remember the French people being so rude. We had suitcases, and then I had a suitcase sitting on a seat beside me, and the guy says, I need that seat. Put your suitcase on your lap. And we made it to the train. We ended up getting tickets, and I had no idea which city was closest to where my uncle lived. So I picked one, and we get on the train just in time, and we end up climbing into we didn't know where to sit, and we saw that a sleeper car was empty. So we went in there and we crashed and we fell fast asleep. And the next thing I know, I'm getting kicked. Yes, kicked. I'm like, oh my word. I'm of course in a deep sleep. I'm like, someone is kicking me. And I wake up because I was laying closest to the door, and it's the conductor. And he wanted to see our tickets. And so showed him the tickets. Well, we weren't supposed to be in there. So we got kicked out of there and we had to go and sit in cattle class. Anyway, we end up in Holland, and somehow, don't ask me how, we called. We didn't have cell phones. Got a hold of my uncle, and he comes to pick us up, and he gives us heck. Why did you get off in this? Because I think he had to drive for like 45 minutes, maybe an hour to come and get us. And I guess there was a closer stop. Anyway, so no Paris. All right, we have to do some stamping, and then I'm going to talk about getting to Scravazon de my Tante Nell, getting closer to Gerard. Okay, so I thought it was really cool that we have this stamp set. Now I'm hoping it focuses. It's not focusing very well. Come on, camera. You can do this. So it is Through It Together. And I have this stamp set and I love it, but I have hardly used it. And the sayings are wonderful. Praying for blankets of healing all around you and yours. Follow your dreams. You're doing better than you think. You are capable of great things. You are loved today and always. Don't let worry spoil your happy. May your comeback be stronger than your setback. Forever grateful. You are proof there is good in the world. Believe in yourself. Thank you. Hello, lovely. I miss you. Get well soon. Warmest wishes. Sending you this paper hug. I love you no matter what. The best way to get through things is together. Stay strong, my friend. I am here for you and with much love. Now, I love all of them. And I was thinking, what am I going to put these on? And I decided to use these. And they are the dies from Sending Smiles. Okay? Now, if you look carefully at this paper, and I don't know if you can see it, it's covered in black smudges. And that happened from my plates, from my from my die cutting machine. So, and I'm thinking, how did this happen? So here is your tip for today. It happens because there's a roller in there. And when you flip your plates, the roller must let a little bit of grease, or, it's a tool, right? And it has to stay well oiled. And maybe it's new. The black from the roller has come off on my plates. So every once in a while, you do have to wash your cutting plates, okay? So let's have a look. And then the other reason that this stamp set is so good, I'm just going to move this and straighten this, is it says here, don't let worry spoil your happy, and may your comeback be stronger than your setback. That actually has to do with my business. Because, you can't run your business in such a way that you are flying all over the place, that you're spending a lot of time with your family, and you're not stamping and holding classes. You simply cannot. the sales don't fall out of heaven. And so I am definitely taking a huge hit in my sales. So I have decided that I'm going to do a long distance club and do something more organized. And I really hope that you partner with me. I'm hoping that, look at this, I'm going to put this right in here, that you will support me in my business, not just following my videos and enjoying my stories. So I'm going to share some information on that later on. And let's have a look. Do we have a long one yet? There's no, yeah, just the short ones. They really aren't long enough. So I'm just going to close this up like so. And then I'm going to, let me have a look. I had these things all cut out. Yeah, well, speaking of which, let me see. Are they under here? I have all my little banners cut out, and now they are totally missing. So we might just get back to storytelling for now, because I can't stamp on my Stamparatus plate. That is nuts. Did I put them in here? Oh. Life is crazy sometimes, isn't it? Yeah, my desk is so clean. I'm looking to see if I put them in here. Let's have a look. I didn't, but here are the dies. Those are the dies that I used. Yes, I'm buying time, people. And I didn't put them in here. No. Isn't that crazy? All right, well, we're going to get back to storytelling then, because there's no sense in... That's nuts. Well, you know what? Just a second. I have my computer sitting here. I'm thinking, did I put something on it? No. Well, you know what? It's never a dull moment with the squirrel. The stamping might not happen. So I'm going to show you something else while we're waiting for the stamps. And that is these tags. So these are tailor-made tags, and I also thought they would be good for the stamps. But I only want the skinny ones for this set. So the big ones aren't necessary, and I don't know if I have any more skinny ones. But this is another great stamp set, die set. You can see that some of them have straight angles and some of them have notched angles. So no stamping for now, and I will kind of look around as I tell my story. All right, let's go back. So we are in Holland, and we started with a visit with my dad's side of the family. And then after a week or so in Zeeland, we went to visit Tante Nel. And Tante Nel has my cousin Jan Willem and Corina is my age. And guess what? It was her birthday. So she was having a birthday party. And it was a Monday night, Gerard tells me. He remembers these things. And he was playing squash with Corina's boyfriend, Ewout. So they came to the birthday party right after playing squash. And he remembers sitting on the couch opposite me. He was, or maybe he was in a chair. I don't know. He said it was a couch. He was sitting on the couch and I was sitting in a chair on the other side of the room. And I, of course, was the only person that they didn't know. And he is like, who is that girl? And I'm thinking, well, who is that guy? I kind of knew everyone else. So after a little while, I got up and I went to sit beside Gerard so that I could introduce myself and talk to him. And in the meantime, I didn't know this till much later. In his head, he's like, oh my goodness, what's this beautiful girl doing sitting beside me? What does she see in me? And he's like, ah. And anyway, we chatted it up, and I found out that he was Corina's boyfriend's best friend and that they had been friends since kindergarten, and that he owned a greenhouse. Like my uncle, my oom Wim, was also a greenhouse owner, a tuinder, they say in Dutch. He grew tomatoes, and I was helping in the greenhouse with that while I was there. And Gerard grew amaryllis. And after a while at the party, he says, well, do you want to go for a drive? I'll show you around. I'll drive by where I live, and I'll show you the beach. And so we did this. And apparently already that very first time, there was a little bit of kissing. Wow, was I that kind of girl? Apparently. So we get back, and we're sitting in his car in the driveway, and we're chatting, perhaps kissing, and all of a sudden, bang, 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 on the top of the car, and it's my uncle and Ewout's dad, and they're laughing, and I am so embarrassed. But at this point, I knew that there was something special happening here. The next day, My brother Oliver says, I'm booking a ferry ride. We're going to England because I had a cousin living in England. And before that, I was all on board for going to England. But this time I said, I am not going with you to England. I've just met this amazing guy and I want to do things with him. I'm going to stay right here in Schravenzonde. So Gerard saw and I saw as much as we could of each other. And before I left for Canada, he says, I really want to, keep this relationship going. So we exchanged addresses and we decided to write letters. So we wrote letters for a whole year. Now, I was disappointed in the frequency of the letters, but Gerard tells me he saved all my letters and he's looked through them all again. And he said, you know what? You never told me that you were disappointed in how that I didn't write fast enough. Because I kind of tease him about that. I tell him that that's one of the reasons I broke up with him. So, yeah, we wrote letters for a year. And then he came to visit me. And how long? Yeah, I can tell you a little bit more. He came to visit me for my birthday. But before he came to visit me, he went to North Carolina to visit his cousins because he had been there a year before or 2 years before to do a co-op work study there. And he was there for the whole summer and got to know them really well and really fell in love with the family there. So he said, you know what, I'm going to come and visit you and I'm going to combine it with a trip to North Carolina. And before he went to North Carolina, he stopped in New York City and stayed there for a couple of days. So this country girl is thinking, oh my goodness, this boy lives in the Netherlands. Now he's going to New York City, then he's going to North Carolina, and then he's going to come visit me in tiny little Fergus, Ontario, and stay on the farm. I thought, oh, he's going to be so disappointed. He's going to be bored. We don't have any discotheques. Oh, but I had no idea what his family in North Carolina was like. I had no idea that in North Carolina, the family that lived there was so similar to my family in Fergus. Also super rural, super conservative as far as religion goes. It was just a total match for how I lived my life. So I didn't need to be worried. And then, okay, I'm going to tell a little bit more later. Let's go back to, so here is the Threw It Together stamp set. And I have my memento ink. And on tomorrow, for stamping through my stash, I'm going to use Artistically Inked because it's a beautiful, beautiful stamp set that I have only used the paper of. And I did a bit of die cutting. So I've die cut these already, and they're going to be part of the card. And I'm not sure about that leaf. But anyway, that is going to be on the agenda for tomorrow. And I'm just looking on the floor to see, it really is driving me crazy that those little die cuts are gone. So I'm just looking for them. And yeah, they're totally missing. They're not in my pocket. So no stamping. Although you know what? I can stamp with a no, I can't. I was gonna say I can stamp with a block, but it's not the block that's the problem. It's the fact that there's no paper. All right, you know what we're gonna do? I really want to stamp. This is nuts. We're just going to not use the dies. That's simple. I'm gonna flip this to here. And there we go. Because seeing something stamped is so different than seeing it in a, here. Tap, tap, tap. And let's have a look, see. Follow your dreams. You are capable of great things. Look how pretty that font is. Now, I don't know why. Focus, camera. There, that's better. I don't know why it's not focusing today. It's bothering me. Okay, I have a new piece of paper. And we're going to take these off. And we're going to put a lot of words on here. And I will tell you later on what happened with all my dies. It's just, you are loved today and always. Warmest wishes. These are cute little tag ones too. It's just great to have lots of choices for your words. And who knows, maybe this will lead to a blog post. I haven't that's the one thing that has fallen by the wayside in the last couple of weeks is my blog. I would love to hear from you how much you enjoy my blog, if you think that's a legitimate thing. I don't want to give it up, but there's a season for everything. So this is at least some efficient stamping, isn't it? This is a great thing to do when you first get your stamp set, is to stamp them all, because you really don't know how much you're going to love something until you stamp it. And then you're like, oh, okay. And it sticks in your mind. It's kind of like writing a grocery list, that even if you forget the list at home, you've done it. So it's in your mind. And once you've stamped with a stamp, it's in your mind. And you remember that you have it and how amazing it is. So sending you this paper hug. I just love it. I'm so glad that this stamp set continued. Now, as a customer, it doesn't matter if a stamp set retires or not, but as a demonstrator, it doesn't make sense to show retired stamps because I can't sell them. It's not nice to you if I stamp something beautiful and then I tell you, oh, by the way, you can't buy it. That is not fun, is it? No, so that's not a good business practice. So that is why I want you guys to join my long distance club. The long distance club is going to be $40 a month, and you get free prime time, and you get a personal letter from me, and you get a free PDF every month, perhaps two. I have to decide on that yet. And we're going to do one monthly Zoom gathering that's just going to be more about meeting together, but I'll also do requests so that if you have something you want me to do, it's kind of like having Jackie all to yourself. So I'm excited about that. And then once a year, I'm going to do a retreat, one in Europe and one in Canada. And people who are a part of my club, and yeah, the hard thing is that I can't sell to people in the States and I can't sell to people in Australia. But I could perhaps do something in kind so that if you do the $40 a month, that you get other things instead of Stampin' Up! Product. Let me know if you're interested and we'll figure something out. But I need to do that in order to keep my business viable. So I figured 30 people, it's going to be limited to 30 people. And I'm thinking with all my followers, we should be able to have 30 people. Look at that. Okay, so now we have some stamps. Isn't that great? Yeah, and it's a really nice font. There's some of them are cursive and most of them are like a typewritten, really clean. I love it. Okay, I'm so glad I did some stamping because it's called Stamps and Stories, and if I don't stamp, then I'm lying to you. So here I am. So I'm all stressed out about Gerard. He's coming to Fergus, and he's this world traveler. And guess what? It gets even worse. I was in grade 13. So back then there was grade 13, and there had been an Ontario teachers strike. So I had had a crazy year. In fact, we thought we were going to lose the year. So the teacher strike lasted for, I think, 6 weeks. So 6 weeks we didn't have school and we had to try to teach ourselves. It's kind of like COVID, but no online learning. And so everything got changed. And so the final exams were also changed. So while Gerard was visiting me, I was writing final exams that determined my entrance into university. I was accepted, of course, but my entrance was dependent on my final grades, and my scholarship was dependent on my final grades. So it was just a crazy time. I was not relaxed. So my cousins took him to a Blue Jays game, and they played tennis with him, and my brother took him out, and yeah, it all worked out. And we had a wonderful time. And then when he left, it was still good. But a few weeks later, I think it was in July, a letter went back and forth. And I said, you know what? You're starting your own greenhouse. I am starting university. This is not going to work. The ocean between us is too big. We can't live on one letter a month. And 4 years, I don't see myself going to Holland, and you are not coming here. You're an awesome guy, but this is not going to work. And so we broke up. Yeah. And the plot thickens, though, because I will continue the story next week. I end up going back to Holland um, at the age of 20 for Christmas. The plot thickens once again, and there is another twist and turn in our story. So, thank you for joining me. I am so sorry about the snafu of the die cuts. I have no idea where they went. I will let you know. I'm a squirrel, so maybe I picked them up when I had to go and get my laptop. Who knows? Anyway, I will let you know, and you can have a laugh at my expense. But I'm glad you joined me. And oh, thanks, Asunta. And I was so stressed out about. Let me just check. I was so stressed out about finding those die cuts that I totally forgot to look on Facebook. But I'm glad that you joined me, and it's just really nice being with you. So have a super day, and we'll